Some days are amazing. We don't know how Mary's day began, but we know that she was a young woman. We know that she was engaged to be married to a builder called Joseph, and we know she lived in a village called Nazareth. It was an ordinary life, really, until that day that an angel stopped by for a visit. Amazing. "Greetings," the angel said. "You are about to receive a great favor from God." Amazed and dazed and confused, she looked worried, and the angel noticed. "No need to be afraid," he said. "This favor is good news. God has promised for ages to bring someone special into this world, someone great, someone to rule over God's people forever. That someone is God's own son, and he has chosen you to be the mother of that child, a child you will call Jesus." Amazing. "But I'm a virgin," said Mary. "How can I have a child?" "God's own Holy Spirit moves around you, so the child will be holy, the Son of God." Amazing. Mary looked at the angel. She believed that what he said was true. "I will do what he asks of me." And just as suddenly as he had appeared, the angel left. Amazing. Some days are amazing, and sadly, some days are awful. Joseph was having one of those. He was engaged to be married to Mary, remember? And then he discovered that Mary was going to have a baby, and he knew that the baby was not his. He was sad and disappointed and angry all at the same time. He felt awful. And then an angel appeared to him in a dream. "Don't be afraid to take Mary as your wife," the angel said. "The child she is carrying is from God's Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you will call him Jesus." And when Joseph woke up, he changed his plans. He took Mary as his wife, and what a day that was. A day that went from awful to amazing. Some days are awful. "Have you heard the news?" said Joseph. "The Roman emperor wants to count every person in every land he rules, and he has ordered us all to go back to the towns from which we came so that he can do it. And seeing as my family comes from Bethlehem, we will have to travel all the way down there." So off they walked. And yes, some of those days were awful too. Sore feet, sore back, sore legs. But some days were amazing. Singing birds, surprising views, and so many new friends. When they arrived at last in Bethlehem, at each of the houses where Joseph's relatives lived, the answer was the same. "We have no room, sorry." This was turning into the most awful of awful days. And then the pair arrived at the house of Joseph's cousin. The room where guests normally stay is already full. "But the other room where we keep the animals overnight is still available. At this stage, we'd be willing to stay anywhere," Joseph exclaimed. "Then the room is yours," said Joseph's cousin. So that's where Joseph and Mary stayed. And yes, their nighttime roommates included the cow and sheep and donkey and goat. But they were warm and they were safe. And when the time came, Mary gave birth to her baby there. She called him Jesus. She laid him in a manger where the hay was kept. She held him in her arms, God's special, precious son, and it was amazing. It was nighttime in the hills outside Bethlehem, and the shepherds were watching their flocks. There were the odd expected sounds, the bleating of sheep and the rustling of leaves, and every now and again a bit of howling from a wolf off in the distance. And then there came an unexpected sound, a heavenly hello from a bright white heavenly visitor. The shepherds trembled at the sight and at the sound. But the angel kept talking. "No need to be afraid," he said. "I come to you with good news, news that will bring joy to everyone. You know, the special one that God has promised to send you, the Messiah, the one who will put everything right. Well, he was born today right here in Bethlehem. If you go into Bethlehem, you will find a new baby lying in a manger." And as soon as he had finished, they were drowned out by a new heavenly sound. The voices of a massive crowd of angels shouting out their praises to God. "Let's go to Bethlehem and see for ourselves what God has done." So off they went. They didn't walk. No, they ran. They searched left, they searched right, and finally they found what they were looking for. Mary and Joseph and the baby lying in a manger. There were star watchers. They had travelled a very long way, and when they arrived in Jerusalem, they knocked on the door of King Herod's palace and introduced themselves. "We have seen a star in the sky. It tells us that a new king of the Jews has been born. We have come to worship him. Can you tell us where he is, please?" He didn't show it, but King Herod was worried and angry. He had worked hard to be the king of the Jews. He'd killed more than one person to sit on the throne. He wasn't about to let some baby show up and take his place. So off they went, following the star, and it led them at last to a house in Bethlehem. They knocked on the door and introduced themselves. "We are here to worship the King of the Jews." They gave little Jesus 3 presents, not the kind of presents that toddlers usually get, not toys or anything like that, but gifts fit for a king: gold, frankincense and myrrh. The star watchers were very excited by what they had seen, and so they should have been, because God had promised that through Abraham's family, he would do something beautiful for the whole world.